Well, hello my lovies and welcome back to my channel. Today's video was highly requested by you guys. You wanted me to purchase this palette and I did it. I got the Norvina palette from ABH. This palette came out, I want to say mid-July, early July. And it was just released on Beauty Bay last week, so I said I would pick it up because Beauty Bay has pretty rapid shipping. You can buy this from the ABH website, Cult Beauty, Sephora have it. There's a ton of different places you can purchase this and I will link down a few below. So I did my eye makeup today using this palette. I've never used it before, so this was the first impressions, but I'm going to do like a mini review. Obviously after I've tried it for a little bit more time I can come back and give you a better review, but for now this is just kind of my first impressions, my first initial thoughts. As you can see, the palette looks like this. Pretty standard for the ABH palettes now. Since Modern Renaissance came out, ABH has all the packaging quite similar to this. So Modern Renaissance, Subculture, Prism palette, Soft Glam, they all look like this in the felt packaging. I absolutely adore the packaging of this because it's purple, and for those of you who watch my channel for a long time will know that purple is my favorite eyeshadow to wear because I have brown eyes and I just think it brings out, well, I have like hazily brown eyes. I don't know what colour my eyes are, but whatever colour they are, purple eyeshadow brings out the best in my eye colour. So let's get into a couple of facts about this. So Norvina, or Claudia, is the daughter of the lady who created Anastasia Beverly Hills, and she came out with her own palette, her own spin, her own shades. These colours definitely reflect her personality in my opinion. So this is what the eyeshadow palette looks like on the inside. I will go through the shades as well as swatches soon and this tutorial, and then at the end come back and give you like my full overall thoughts on it. There are 14 shades in this, like the standard Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. I think it retails for something like $42, but to buy off Beauty Bay it was about €48. This took a day to arrive. That's why I love Beauty Bay. So on the ABH website there's 7 mattes. However, in my opinion, some of them are not straight up mattes, and the 2 shades that I say that about are Soul, which is this purple here, and Love. There is one foiled shade which is Summer, Celestial, which is a duochrome, and then the rest are described as metallic finishes. So Drama, Dazzling, Rose Gold, which I wouldn't say Rose Gold is a metallic finish, and Dreamer metallic as well. So the rest are metallic, and Celestial's a duochrome, which I don't really see the duochromeness. I can kind of see it there. It's like a shift between a purple and a deeper purple, light purple to deep purple. So that is all you need to know about the shade. Like I said, I think that the shade Love and the shade Soul kind of have a sheen to them. They're not straight up matte shades in my opinion. They have definitely got a sheen to them, and when I was applying these through my crease I could notice the sheen off them. They weren't straight up matte. I do love the colour story of this palette. I love the purples, obviously. I love the way there's base shade to set your eyeshadow, and then you also have kind of a deep plum shade. It's not the deepest darkest shade either. If you wanted like to really deepen up a look, black would probably be your go-to look. However, I find that Drama works really well at deepening up the eyeshadow look, and I used it today. I personally, when I'm using purples, don't really tend to go with really deep shades like blacks in my outer V to deepen it up. I tend to go with kind of deeper shades of purple. So for me, this is perfect. For you, perhaps it might not be. I had a little bit of an issue with some of the eyeshadows, and I will explain that in a minute. The first eyeshadow that I had an awful problem with was Drama. I found the most kickback from that and the most fallout from Drama. Definitely, it was falling down my face as I was applying it. So I do recommend going in with like a stiff brush and really banging off the excess eyeshadow, because it will be halfway down your face. Rose Gold, Celestial and Summer are those kind of like foiled shades, which I do like. They're metallics, but I do really recommend using a wet brush with them. The only reason I recommend using a wet brush is because if you go in with a dry brush, the tendency of the eyeshadows to fall and crumble and break is higher on a dry brush, whereas when you use something like a wet brush, it has something to stick to and also intensifies the eyeshadows. I don't feel like I needed to intensify the eyeshadows. I feel like the colours really came out true and pigmented on my eyes. This is one of my favourite colour stories from all of the ABH palettes, which I'm actually shocked to say because you guys know that Subculture is one of my favourite. The Modern Renaissance, I am just in love with. I don't own Soft Glam because I just felt like if I had Renaissance and Subculture, I didn't really need that in my collection. But this is different. It's nothing like what I have in my collection already as palettes go. And I really felt like it was a good match for me. I wasn't going to buy this eyeshadow palette, guys. I'm not going to lie. I had no intentions of purchasing this because I kind of felt like, why do I need that in my collection? But you guys did persuade me that it would be a good palette to try out and maybe to give a tutorial on and maybe a mini review. I don't have a huge amount of criticism for this palette obviously initially because I've only just used it today. I will over time obviously come back to you guys and say how I feel about it after I've used all of the shades. Like I said, this is just a first impressions. The only thing I did notice when I was blending eyeshadows onto my eyelid or applying eyeshadows onto my eyelid is I lost some of the colour between applying it initially and then applying a shadow next to it, because I kind of did like a ombre type eye. So I find when I was placing the next shade down, I lost a little bit of intensity of the previous shade, so I had to go back in with it. The other thing I will say about it is because the fallout is pretty intense from some of the shades, like Drama in particular, I would recommend doing your foundation last, so do your eyes first. I know a lot of you hate that. I personally don't like to have to do my foundation after I apply my eyeshadow. I usually apply my foundation first, then do the eyes, then I conceal, like cleaning up with it. But I just found with Drama, because it was so dark and so intense and deep, it left kind of like a mark on my face when I was like kind of removing it, trying to clean up. So I had to end up taking off a little bit of foundation underneath my eye and going in again. So I'm not saying that's going to happen with everybody, but just to be aware. I am not the most amazing at eyeshadows. I'm not a makeup artist. You guys know that. But I did find that this eyeshadow palette was a little bit tricky to use. I know that about Subculture. I put in the time with Subculture because I love it so much. Subculture is an impossibly, well, not impossible, because obviously if I can use it and I'm not that great at makeup, it's not that impossible. But it is a tricky eyeshadow palette to get right, to get to work. And I did find that same thing with this one for a completely different reason. Subculture kind of grab into certain areas and can kind of look a bit splotchy if you don't use a really light hand with it. That did not happen with this eyeshadow palette. The only thing that I did find happened is an awful lot of the eyeshadows started to almost merge into one, which you have to be really careful with this palette that you don't let that happen, because then it becomes difficult to distinguish between the eyeshadows on the lid. And when I was applying eyeshadows, especially these more frosted metallic finishes, that they became kind of almost like submerging into one and looked the same. The same when I placed Drama over Soul. I lost the intensity of Soul, even though I kept Soul up a little bit higher than where Drama was. You just need to be really careful with this eyeshadow palette that you don't end up making it turn into a muddy mess, because it could happen so easily. I will be able to report back a little bit more on that as I experiment with the eyeshadows, but that's the only thing I did find. I did find that the metallic-y shades are really super pigmented. They're really bright. You don't need to work too hard with them. You don't need to wet your brush. I just do recommend doing it because shades like Rose Gold, Celestial and Summer are quite crumbly almost on the eye, and it's like they want to like just break off and fall down your face. Like I had to take my brush, tap off the excess and then rub a little bit on the back of my hand before going onto my eye, because I just felt like it would just all fall down my face. So just do be wary of that when you are using it. It's not exactly beginner friendly. I'm not gonna like stress that it's not beginner friendly, because you could be just an absolute pro at makeup and you might have only started 2 months ago, but it's just not a palette I would recommend to a beginner. Having said all that, it is a really nice eyeshadow palette to add to a collection if you are starting to collect makeup and you just want to start getting into makeup, because it's very unique, very different, nothing like what I have in my collection. I've been collecting makeup for well over 10 years. I'm going to give you a tutorial now on the eyes and then swatch the eyeshadows just so you can see them, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts on whether you should buy this palette or not. So first off, I'm going to take the shade Base. I've no idea what I'm going to do with this look, but we're just going to wing it. I'm just going to apply base all over my eyelid just to set my primer in place. Ooh, that's seriously pigmented. Even blend it out with the bigger brush just to set the eyelid. So next I'm going to go in with the shade Incense on a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to apply that into my crease of my eye. Ooh, that's a pretty color. It's blending out well. So far so good. Standard ABH quality that we know and love. Just going to blend it out into the outer corner of my eye. I just want this to be a nice wash of colour. And I'm going to take the shade Love, which is this pink shade down here, and we're just going to pop that over Incense. There is a little bit of kickback, guys. You can see that there from just tapping my brush into it. So pop that into my crease just to warm it up a touch. So obviously, looking at Love in the palette, you can see that it's not a flat matte shade. There is a bit of shimmer to it, like a sheen to it. So that does not bother me at all. However, I can see if you have a little bit more mature eyes, or if you have, like, I know I have semi-hooded eyes, that it could be like a bit of an annoyance for you because it's not flat matte, but so far it's looking pretty decent on my eye. Okay, on the outer corner of my eye, I'm going to take the shade Soul. Sorry, my brush is really stained, but you can see how pigmented that eyeshadow is. It's just like coating the brush. I'm going to stick with my card and then just apply this to the outer V and bringing it up through the crease. The shade again is not quite flat matte. It looks matte in the palette, but it's not really matte. That shadow's not showing up as well as I would like. Maybe I need a little bit more of it. There we go, that's a bit better. This brush is obviously not for like high impact shadow, it's just for adding a wash, which is what I want. So next I'm going to take this shade here, Drama, on the end. Why would I not love that name? Dramatic Mac and all. But I'm just going to apply a little bit of that just directly to the outer portion. Ooh, there is a lot of fallout from that. I don't know if you guys can see that there on my eye. A lot of fallout. So I would recommend wiping your brush off very well. I'm going to take that right out here. And keeping it a bit lower than the purple in the crease. Absolutely adore that shade. I just don't adore this. I'm a little bit disappointed with that Drama shade. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I just find it really hard to blend and it's just a little bit choppy on me. Hopefully I can rectify it. I'm just gonna have to blend a little bit more. Next up, I'm gonna take the shade Celestial, which is this gorgeous purpley shade here. And again, there's a bit of fallout from that too. I'm taking this on a dry brush just to see how we get on, guys. I'm not applying any Fix Plus or anything to this. That is a beautiful, beautiful shade. So beautiful. But again, a lot of fallout from it. Tap your brush into it. Like I can see as I am picking up a bit of the product, there is a lot of kickback from it. I don't know if you can see that there on the palette. Just be wary of that and make sure you tap off your brush. I feel like I've lost a bit of love up there. I lost the love. So I'm just going to go back in with that shade just to keep the crease defined. I just feel like there's a mess going on here, guys. I'm going to take the shade Rose Gold here. This is beside Celestial, and again on a dry brush. A lot of product kind of coming up off my brush that I'm just going to have to tap off. Well, what I might do is just apply it to the back of my hand first, because I just don't want to lose all that nice shadow, and just pop that in over Celestial. That's a beautiful, beautiful shade. I don't have anything like that in my collection. It's so unique. Very, very, very pretty. I'm going to take the ABH brush and I'm just going to go in with the shade Summer. Again, a lot of fallout from that and just a bit of chunkiness coming off it, like I'm losing product. So I'm just going to pat that into the inner portion of my eye. And then finally, I'm just going to take Dreamer and just pop that right into the inner portion of my eye. And now I'm just going to fix up these colors, just kind of blend out the crease a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and try and get rid of some of the... Why did I think that would work? So next I'm going to take Base, finally, and just apply that underneath my brow. Just to highlight and then fill in my brows after. I do really like this look on the eye. I have a few thoughts on it, which I'll discuss at the end of this video. Okay, so I just set my under eye area. So I'm going to go back in with Drama, the shade that I used on the outer V, and just pop that underneath my lower lashes. Kind of blend that out without stabbing myself in the eye. Take in Celestial again and apply that in the middle. And then take Rose Gold all the way into the corner, rather. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to add this Mr. Right. This is Seymour Romance eyeliner into my waterline. Just to tie all the purple together. So I'm just going to start off by swatching the top row, which is Dreamer. So you can see there is a little bit of fallout when I was applying that. It's a very loose shadow. Summer, which is a gorgeous metallic, really, really foiled shade. Got Wild Child, which is a beautiful pinky shade. Again, this has the tendency to have a little bit of fallout, so just be careful with it. Rose Gold, my personal favorite shade in this whole palette. Absolutely beautiful, really, really foiled and very metallic. Next, we've got Celestial, a beautiful purple shade. It's a duochrome purple. Again, it has a little bit of fallout, so just do be careful with that. Next up is Dazzling. Haven't used this on my eye yet, so I can't make too many comments on it. It's very similar to the other shade, quite like a foiled shade, and has a little bit of fallout. Drama. Drama is a deep dark purple. It has a black undertone to it, and I absolutely adore this. This shadow is the one I had the most issues with though on my eyes, because it fell an awful lot down my face. Next up, I'm going to do the matte. So we're going to start with base, and this is just a basic cream shade. Has a tiny bit of a sheen to this shade, but not like too intense. Can see it a little bit more with the shade Soul, which is a nice periwinkle blue. So next up, we've got Incense, and this is a true matte brown. It's a lovely transition shade. Then we've got Love. This is another one with a bit of a sheen to it as well. So it's not like a straight up pink shade. There is a slight sheen to it. It's not completely and utterly matte. Got Volatile here, which is like a grey brown. And it's absolutely beautiful. It kind of has a little bit of a mauve tone to it that you can see the theme of purple in it. We've got Eccentric, which is a very warm tone brown. This is like one of my favorite types of browns ever. I love this type of shade. And then finally we've got Passion, which is a beautiful plummy brown shade. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's a straight up matte shade. That one, that one, that one. And then I would say these three have a slight sheen to them. I don't know if you can even see that from me moving my arm. They're just not quite full on matte. Okay, so my full thoughts on the Norvina palette. Do you need it? Do you not? Should you buy it? I would personally recommend this to a person who is interested in purple eyeshadows, straight up. If you have no interest whatsoever in purple eyeshadows, you're just not into them, you don't like the look of them, I would say avoid this palette, because you're just not going to be inspired by that. I hope that makes sense. There's more neutral shades in this than there are purple shades. However, I do find that you could get so many other palettes for the price, or even cheaper neutral palettes, if that's what you're looking for, a neutral look. But if you're looking for purple eyeshadows and you really want to try out purples and experiment with purples, I think this is a really good eyeshadow palette to get, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna hate this. I mean, I had written this off. This was not even coming into my collection. I was like, nope, don't need it, don't want it, have enough purple eyeshadows. But to be honest, I have nothing like this. It's so unique to me and so unique to my collection that I am really, really, really happy I own it. Thank you to all my subscribers who told me I needed this in my life and that I shouldn't write it off, because you were right. It is absolutely beautiful. I do love the performance of this, I can't lie. I know an awful lot of reviewers and I've seen a lot of people talk about how difficult it is to use, the fallout on it. To be honest, they're not things that massively bother me. They're not. I don't massively get bothered by fallout. I mean, I work with the subculture. I mean, I would work with anything, because it was a tricky eyeshadow palette to get right. I feel like this is formulated so much better. It's not as difficult to use as subculture. However, if you are not interested in purple eyeshadows, you're just not going to be inspired to pick this eyeshadow palette up, because the second you look at it, you just see purple. Even though there is neutrals, you're just not going to be bothered to go to it. You go to the Soft Glam palette, the Modern Renaissance, maybe something else you have in your collection like Soft Peach palette, Jaclyn Hill palette, or whatever it might be. If you're looking for a neutral eye, you're not going to dip into this eyeshadow palette for a neutral eye. I could be completely wrong. I mean, I've seen Samantha Ravndal do a gorgeous neutral look with this palette, so it is totally achievable. But it's just, when I look at this palette, I want to use the purple. So whether you need it or not depends on your collection, what you actually own already. If you're, you know, drawn to purple eyeshadows, would you use them on your eyes? Do you like them on your eyes? If you don't, I'd say pass on this and pick up something like a basic neutral eyeshadow palette that you will get more use out of. If you're only interested in this eyeshadow palette for the foiled shades, I would say you know, what foil shades do you like, because you could probably dupe the majority of these foil shadows. I mean, Makeup Geek have amazing foil shadows for a much more affordable price individually. I know there are some unique shades like Celestial and Rose Gold. It's really, really, really nice and quite unique to my collection anyway. Soul and Love are probably the only two shades that I'm quite disappointed in, because I just wish that they were straight up matte. I don't understand why they have this sheen to it. Maybe it's just that they were easier to formulate with that sheen on it, and maybe it just means they're going to show up a little bit better on the skin. But for me, it's just really annoying to put a matte, or what you think is going to be matte, through the crease, and then it kind of has that sheen to it. Also, I don't find those shades really, really, really flattering through the crease. Just my opinion. You might use them and think they are really flattering. The pink shade Love actually did look really nice in my crease, but I can see that kind of sheen going through the crease. It's not a major issue because my whole eye is kind of full of shimmer, but if you're looking for a complete and utter matte look and you just wanted to use these, you don't really have full matte shades, because Love, Soul and Base are definitely not matte in my opinion. Don't really have anything more to say about the Norvina palette. I really enjoy it. I actually am inspired to do more looks with it, and I will definitely be picking this up all weekend. And I will go to this for like a nighttime eye look. It's actually one of my favorite eyeshadow looks I've created in a while. Can't believe I'm saying that. But yeah, it is. If you guys have picked this eyeshadow palette up, that didn't even come out like proper English. If you picked this eyeshadow up, what do you guys think? Help each other out in the comment section. Don't just take my word on it. And also, if you're contemplating picking this up, I hope this review was helpful in some way. So that's all I gotta say about that. Thank you so much guys for tuning in today. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it, and tell me what you'd like to see next on my channel. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you very soon. Mwah! Bye guys.